Welcome, everyone. We are so excited to have you with us here tonight to celebrate a wonderful film and an exceptional filmmaker. My name is Adam Collis, film professor at Arizona State University and founding director of FilmSpark, ASU's industry relations program in Hollywood. And we're honored to be the host of this very special event. And most of you have had a chance to watch this sumptuous film, Sylvie's Love, courtesy of our partner, Amazon Studios. And on behalf of everyone at Arizona State University and everyone here tonight, I want to extend a hearty thanks to Amazon for giving us this sneak peek. And I want to remind everybody tuning in tonight that the best way we can thank Amazon is for you to tell your friends and family about this fabulous film. I also want to thank Film Threat for helping us get the word out about this event and to encourage you to check out their upcoming Movie Awards program, Award This, which is dedicated to indie films. Now, we'll be taking your questions live later in the program, but to get things started, I'm honored to introduce my friend, ASU Vice President of Cultural Affairs and Executive Director of ASU Gamage, Colleen Jennings Rogensuck. Colleen has been presenting the performing arts for the past 35 years. She was nominated by President Clinton and confirmed by the U.S. Senate to serve on the National Council of the Arts. She has worked with the National Endowment of the Arts and the Department of Education. She has spoken at the Library of Congress. She is also a Tony voter and serves on the Broadway League Board of Governors. She's also a founding and active board member of Creative Capital. Welcome, Colleen.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here. This is such a monumentous occasion, and I am just going to underscore what you said about Sylvie's Love. I loved it.
Awesome. It's just so excited to be able to do this with you, Colleen. It's just so great. Now I'd like to introduce our special guest, and that's the director of Sylvie's Love, Eugene Ashe, who hails from Harlem, New York. Eugene began his entertainment career as a recording artist on Sony Music's Epic 550 label and as part of the R&B band Funky Poets, which garnered 3 Billboard charted singles and a platinum record from the Free Willy soundtrack. He also contributed music to the critically acclaimed HBO series Oz. Eugene's first screenplay, The Draft Dodger, was developed during his fellowship at the Writers Lab at Columbia University Graduate School, and his 2010 off-Broadway play was adapted into his debut feature film, Homecoming. And Sylvie's Love premiered at the 2020 Sundance Film Festival. I know we're going to want to hear a lot about that. Welcome, Eugene.
Hey.
Hey, so glad to have you with us.
How you doing? Hey, Colleen.
Hey, good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, we're so honored to have you with us, Eugene. So after Eugene and Colleen's conversation, which we'll start with, we're going to open the floor to questions from the audience watching. So if you have a question, be sure to throw it in the Zoom chat. So with all that said, I'm going to pass it to you, Colleen.
Thank you so much. Eugene, it's so great to be with you this evening. And there are so many questions that I have, and I know that there's a lot of interest in. Let's start with this journey. How did you begin this journey from the start to where you are today?
As a filmmaker in general, or specifically?
You know, you could take us back to Pratt or to the High School of Art and Design.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of started my journey in the arts as an art major and an architecture major in high school, and then in college at actually Parsons School of Design.
Parsons, excuse me.
Yeah, no. Pratt is a really terrific school too. um, and then segued into I had always been in bands and in the music world, so I got a record deal and signed with Sony Epic Records in the '90s as part of the band The Funky Poets, as Adam said, and had some success there. Worked with Michael Jackson and Mariah Carey and some people you haven't heard of, and then kind of started doing some work on soundtracks, and that was how on movie soundtracks, and that was really how I caught the bug to become a filmmaker. I was just so enamored by the process, and so yeah, that was what sucked me in, doing music for it and watching all of the behind the scenes stuff and reading scripts, and decided to start writing them on my own.
Wow.
With Sylvie's Love specifically, it sort of is a marriage of all of my different kind of art influences and loves, from music to architecture to my love of history as well. Architecture has there's a lot of history in architecture, so I've always been a big history buff, and worked on the History Channel as a writer on the television show called History IQ, which was sort of a Jeopardy-esque show that was really focused primarily on history. And so with Sylvie's Love, I really, looking at my old family photos, I felt that they really told a very different story of Black life in the '60s than I was seeing depicted in film and on screen. And there were a couple of movies, like Paris Blues, that, from that era that had Black leads in them, but never as much as something like Breakfast at Tiffany's. We didn't really have a Breakfast at Tiffany's, or we didn't have the way we were, really. We weren't represented the way that I thought we should be in love stories. And generally speaking, when we show period pieces with people of color, it usually is kind of framed through our adversity or struggle or trauma or something like the civil rights movement or slavery. So I just really wanted to kind of break away from that, and I didn't realize it was as revolutionary as it turned out to be until I tried to get it financed.
And so in that process, because it's not only revolutionary, but it also is kind of leading a new wave that we are seeing globally about looking at BIPOC people as complete individuals. So tell us, how did you approach that? Because here, the world is roiling, summer is hot and contested, and then here you are out delivering this gorgeous film about our lives. So what was the pitch?
It's funny because, when period pieces work, they for me, they inform the times that we're living in. But at the same time, I didn't make it knowing that a pandemic was going to hit and that we would have this, type of political unrest that we have. And I didn't know any of that. I was just making something that I thought needed to exist in the world. And when you're lucky, there's an unseen thing where you tap into the zeitgeist, and then you wind up with something that is the right thing at the right time for everyone. And I feel like it feels like that to me. Like I said, I didn't make it with that in mind, but what I'm getting from people are things like, this is just what we need right now. Exactly. This is the movie I need right now.
Exactly.
So it's good to hear. And I definitely, it's empowering to hear that, but at the same time, I try to work outside of that. I don't really, of course I'm making it for people, but I'm also making it for myself and creating something that I just want to see in the world.
which is the best way to make something. You know, there was something fascinating about watching this film. Can you talk about what it was like to shoot on a backlot?
Sure. It was not the original intention. I was going to shoot in upstate New York and in May. But of course, I had the wonderful Tessa Thompson as the star of the film. And Tessa really was pretty busy. You know, Tessa has been in Marvel movies and she's on the television show Westworld. She didn't have a lot of time, and she basically was like, I have February. I can shoot the movie in February. And anyone who's been in New York knows that shooting in February in upstate New York is a gamble, to say the least. You know, it could snow, and this movie's supposed to take place in the summertime. So I got the crazy idea to shoot in February in Los Angeles, and this was in October of 2018. So it was a very, very fast prep on it. And one of the toughest things is coming out of the holiday season, trying to staff up, you know, trying to get a crew together, because most people take vacations during that time. And we needed to start on January 2nd. Prep for the shoot to start on February 3rd. So it was really, really tough, and it was fast. But what it did was, I think I originally envisioned a movie kind of more intimate and indie, like something like Carol, you know, or A Single Man. And, you know, I was shooting on Super 16 to try to get that sort of look originally. And then when I stepped on the backlots, you know, it was just suffused with the ghosts of all of these terrific classics from the past, that it really made me want to rise to the occasion and create this sort of classic love story. So I just kind of pivoted and leaned into the fact that I had to shoot on these backlots. And it really was, I mean, you know, the Warner Brothers backlot, I shot on the same steps as the movie Sparkle, which I really loved.
Yes.
You know, so it was you know, Sparkle was written by Joel Schumacher, and Sam Osteen directed it. So it was, you know, it's just an interesting time for me. And I really felt like I was actually making a movie in 1962, not just that it was set in 1962.
And that's what's sort of interesting, because the risk of this film is not only a different image of African Americans on film, but given the times we're in and what you're used to seeing on the screen. And I have to say, the love moments were so beautiful, but were not so explicit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's, you know, you don't have to show, you know, it's not a porno movie. It's talking about romance and love, and I don't think that you have to, that it, you know, but at the same time, what was great about the actors is that they didn't shy away from nudity and things. It just didn't really make it in the film, you know, but they weren't guarded. I mean, I think the general consensus was, if it happens, it happens. You know, like if there's nudity, there's nudity. If there's not, there's not. You know, we weren't trying to make a really explicit love scene in any way, clearly. But it's a little more romantic to not see everything.
Yes, yes.
And what's not shown is just as sexy in some ways.
So would you share with us how you, first of all, cast, and then how you prepare that cast for the story you want to unveil?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the most important thing was trying to replicate the chemistry of the great kind of Hollywood pairings. And, you know, I guess the ones in the 70s kind of stick out to me more than even the earlier ones like Bacall, and, you know, like, yeah, I was more interested in Robert Redford and Barbara Streisand and Billy D. Williams and Diana Ross. You know, that's what I was kind of thinking. I wanted that kind of chemistry. So, you know, in Tessa, I really found this kind of ethereal, you know, I watched some interviews with her, because she's usually pretty tough in the roles that she plays, like she's playing Valkyrie in Thor, you know, or in Dear White People, she's an activist. But what I found is that I would watch her in interviews, and she had this very kind of like poised thing that reminded me of an Audrey Hepburn, or reminded me of these classic starlets. So I was really, really just kind of taken with her in that way. And of course, I knew she was a great actor, so I figured if I could get that out of her, it would be terrific. And then with Nnamdi, Nnamdi comes from a football background. He's 6'3", and he's got these cheekbones for days. And when Nnamdi walks in the room, you feel like you just met Cary Grant. I mean, so that's just in his DNA. And I had seen him in Crown Heights, which is and another Amazon original, where he plays a West Indian gentleman trying to get his friend out of jail, played by Lakeith Stanfield. And so there was something about him when I met him that just really, I was like, this guy just has it. He doesn't have that kind of relaxed posture and pose that a lot of young actors have. He had a very kind of, forthright, he just reminded me of the way that men carried themselves back then. And then just as far as getting them together and trying to extract that chemistry, I come from the theater a little bit, so I do a lot of rehearsal. It's important to me, just the key scenes, just so we can kind of get a little bit of that out of the way, so it's not just like it's super, super fresh. I want to keep the freshness. I want to keep it crackling, but at the same time, I don't want the words. I want the words to be committed to them, because they're period words. So I want to go over if they're mispronouncing something, or tonally it's wrong. So we did that, but then I shot sort of in the order of when they, not chronologically, but I'd shoot the scenes where they were either coming back together again after 5 years, or when they were first meeting. So this chemistry was able to develop naturally over the course of the shoot. Like, for instance, I didn't shoot the plaza scene where they make love until very late in the shoot. We shot about 36 days. So I didn't want to shoot, because we took weekends off, but I didn't want to shoot, the stuff like that early, because I wanted that chemistry to develop organically. And I think that it happened quite nicely. So.
It happened beautifully. I feel also there's a narrator in the story. I feel like the narrator or the Greek chorus of the story is all that incredible music. You talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that certainly, and it's the sort of bed that the whole thing is lying on, throughout the movie, more than just the needle drops, the songs, like Nancy Wilson stuff and See You Later Alligator and the Motown stuff, and even more more than just the originals that the Dickie Brewster Quartet does. There's this wonderful 60-piece orchestra playing all of the incidental music, and it really does something to it. It changes, the weight of each scene when there are live strings and piccolos and all of these things that you find in the classic movies, the Elmer Bernsteins and the Michel Legrands, who did the music for these great love stories that we love. So that's what we were going for with my composer, Fabrice Lecomte, who's just a genius. He was actually the very first person I hired before I even had funding for the film. I'm talking about like 6 years ago. We met and started talking about it. So he's really terrific, and he actually composed all of the jazz tunes for the Dickie Brewster Quartet. And he's a big jazz head, and we really talked about getting that part right, having music that didn't sound like, bubblegum jazz, that it really sounded like stuff that would have been played at that time by guys like that. And he did a great job, and then we got a fantastic band, like a super band of young jazz dudes, the best guys playing today, Mark Turner, Matt Penman, Ben Borowski, and Uri Kane on piano. And we did pre-records. And then Nnamdi took those pre-recorded sessions and learned how to play all of the saxophone over a course of 2 years. Learned how to play every single thing, so that I didn't have to move the camera off him. So when you see him in the street playing, that's really him playing. And when we're in the clubs, he's playing over everything that's happening, because I was really concerned about I just don't like when I see someone pan down and you lose their face and then it's someone else's hands. So I wanted to do long shots and push in slowly and really watch him, So when Sylvie comes to see him the first time at the Blue Morocco and she sees him really getting into it, you're really seeing that's really him playing.
Wow.
You know, it's great.
It's incredible. It's also a real push for jazz. You know, as the love story waxed and waned, as did jazz music. And I don't know if you were also doing this as an elegy to jazz, as a tribute to jazz.
I was, and it was also, you know, intentional. As I said, I was a recording artist on Sony, and kind of what happened in my career was R&B, as I had grown up with it and knew it, was sort of kind of going out as hip hop was really taking over and having more prominence and becoming the popular music of young Black folks. And the same thing really kind of happened. I think it was a parallel with what happened with jazz, where jazz stopped being the music that young Black people danced to. You know, it started becoming a very heady and intellectual music, which I love, of course. I didn't when I was a kid. I wanted to listen to the Jackson 5. But, you know, my dad was, you know, playing Monk and Coltrane in the background, and I just thought it sounded like noise until I started to listen. And so what I wanted to get across, in addition to that kind of investigating that theme of when one style of music goes out and another one is coming in, I also wanted to talk about how jazz was the music of young people, you know, because we often think jazz is like old folks music or grandparents music or something, and it really couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, it was like very youthful and exuberant music. So it's kind of cool to be able to put stuff so lush like that in a film that stars young, beautiful Black people.
It's so great. Can you talk about what kind of a director you are? How do you set the set? How do you set the tone? How do you move through, and how do you work with people, and not just actors, but your crew as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question. In addition to this, another one of the things I do is I'm a restaurant owner in New York.
Oh.
And I have one restaurant that, you know, it's got 365 seats in it as a comedy club downstairs. So I'm used to dealing with big staffs, and I always talk to everybody on my entire crew, because we all have to be working at the same. When I open a restaurant, everyone has to be on the same page and know what restaurant we're opening. So it's the same thing when I direct movies, which I don't do, honestly, as often as I open restaurants, because it takes longer to finance. Maybe that'll change now. But what I do is I talk to everybody. I'll go up to the Gapper, or I'll hang out with the Electric and Grips and Electric and show them dailies and show them what we did yesterday and show them the movie we're making, so everybody's really on the same page. And it starts that once you get it at the cellular level like that, then everyone is making the same movie, and they feel a sense of inclusion, and because it really is that I'm really no more important than anyone, a Grip or someone in, you know, Electric. There's no real hierarchy. It's only one that's sort of, you know, something laid on top of the movie business, but really just as important, the person lighting the movie and shooting it are more important. You know, I really try to just make sure that I talk to everybody. I often sit at, I don't really sit with, you know, I'm not trying to just sit with the famous people during, you know, craft services, or, you know, when we have a lunch break or dinner break. I usually sit and talk to my crew, and I mean, that's the kind of director I am. And I also talk to my backgrounds and explain to them what's going on. So I'll hold a meeting with the backgrounds before we get into it, and I'll talk to them individually. And I've had, you know, background actors write me letters, write me emails, or DM me on Instagram telling me what, you know, how important that was that I did that, and how it made them feel included and like they were a part of something. And a lot of directors just, you know, go to their trailer, and that's just not really, like, you know, it's not how things are done. It just doesn't work that way. For me, that's not a way I like to work. I like to know. I'm terrible with names. I am. So that's my one fatal flaw. My cousin Ray is usually, he was in my band with me, and I would be like, what's his name? And he would tell me. But I know everybody's face, and I never forget a face, ever. So
Which is great. Can you say, when do you wear your director's hat and when do you wear your producer's hat? What's the difference between those two hats?
You know, it's interesting. Namdi and I have talked about that too, because Namdi's an actor and Namdi's an actor and he's a producer on the film, and Tessa's an executive producer and she's an actor on the film. You know, I think it's sort of like if you're one of the owners of the basketball team, when you're on the court, you got to play. You know, so that's what we do when we're in it and we're in the thick of it. We're not thinking about it. I'm so sorry about that.
Probably one of your producers.
It is one of my producers, Gabrielle. That's so hilarious. Yeah, she called me. I'm gonna tell her. Yeah, but so that's exactly it. When, you know, it's like also asking, you know, when do I stop being a writer and when do I stop being a director? You know, because I also wrote Sylvie's Love. So I have to kind of stop writing it and direct it, you know, and I have to stop producing it and actually direct it, you know. So I try to you know, compartmentalize those different parts of myself. They certainly creep into each other. You know, sometimes I start looking at my watch if we're going too long. You know, I know what's coming. I know that the fire department's going to show up and, you know, shut us down. I know I need to get this shot. I know we don't have time for one more take. I know I need to get it right now. And, you know, so that'll be a little bit of the producer informing the director, hey, you got to get this, buddy. So.
And are you able to take suggestions, critiques?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, look, the film business is a collaborative business, and that's the thing, is that I'm a writer. So you get beat up pretty bad with notes when you're a writer, you know, and that's the thing too, even if you're producing it, you know, it's usually your producers and your actors who have all kinds of notes for you. So if you can't take criticism and you can't kind of open up the process to other people's involvement, you really shouldn't be in this business. My time with the script is my time. But when I decide that it's time to take it out into the world and share it with people, then you open it to critique. And you do the same thing with all artwork. When you make a song and you put it on the radio, you run the risk of someone saying, I don't like that song. And you run the risk of people saying, I don't like this movie, it's too slow. You know, it's too melodramatic, it's too all of the above, you know you're going to hear those things. Yeah. But if you tap into something and most people dig it, then, you know, you've done your job, you know. And the biggest thing is, do you like it as the artist? You know, I love this movie. Yeah. And it's the movie I wanted to make. So it's like, I just kind of, that's where I leave it at. It's like, look, well, I dig it, because if you start making it for other people, right, you have to live with it as the director. So making something for, you know, because somebody said, oh, I don't, you know, you can't do that. But at the same time, if there's a real valid critique, what is it? I often ask, if I get notes when I'm writing, well, what is it you're not feeling? What is it you want to be feeling in that moment that you're not feeling? Like, for instance, in this film, you've all watched it. So Lacey, her husband, that scene where they're at the funeral, when they kind of break up, you know, it was a little, I had scripted it like a little, the consensus was we wanted him to leave with some dignity. You know what I'm saying? And because the guy wasn't a terrible guy. He had married her even though she was pregnant, and you know, those different things. But then, you know, at the same time, I told Alano, the actor, listen, you really married her because, you know, you didn't want to be embarrassed by the fact that your lady got pregnant by somebody else. So there's that undertone of that too, you know, which he could kind of like play as a subtext at all times, even if he's being kind of cool. And one of the reasons he wanted to control her and box her in. So all of these different things, you know.
And very layered, because that last comment leaving the office was, I loved you. Out of all of that. And so you're like, okay, so he's not the creepy, domineering guy that I thought he was.
Right. I didn't want to be, you know, I didn't need you to be the woman of my dream. I just wanted to be the man of yours.
Yeah.
But we
yeah.
both know that position's already been filled. It's
Already
like,
taken. It's already taken. It's already taken. You know, one of the things I liked also is often elders get short shrift in a lot of films because it's about the young and the beautiful and the handsome. But you give really strong, powerful pieces to both the father and the mother.
yeah, I mean, listen, it's for me, you know, the people in my family who I learned the most from were my elders, and they have a lot to say, and I think it's just important, you know. Who wants just to, you know, it's a people, you know, her mother, for instance, is one thing people, you know, not a lot of people mention this, but one thing that's intentional is her mother is a working mother. So
Right.
even if she wants her to be, think of the motivation there. You know, she wants her to be this sort of like Stepford wife and, you know, her star pupil. But at the same time, her mother is a business owner and
Right.
working. So she's actually an example for Sylvie,
Right.
you know. And Erica Kimball, who plays that role, is just
She's
fantastic.
amazing.
Yeah, I love her. I mean, we've actually been friends for a very, very long time. We grew up in New York on the Upper West Side together. So I've known Erica for a long time, since her famed TV show days. But
Yeah.
it's great to be able to work with her. She's super, super smart and just a great actor and the kindest person ever.
Such a talent. Well, it does seem to me you are going to have your pick from this film, Homecoming, which I also loved so much, and love the music that you wrote in Homecoming. I have
Thank
to
you.
say,
Did
pretty
your homework.
yeah, yes. But you also have now started your own production company, 7-Letter Word. What does that mean? And what are you looking forward to doing?
Well, 7-Letter Word Films comes out of 7-Letter Word is, you know, when you use all of your tiles in Scrabble, you get a bonus. And so for me, it's about what 7-Letter Word means is using everything, all of your resources to the best that you can to use all of your tiles, you know, and being crafty and smart enough to come up with a word out of these 7 things that are just, you know, arbitrary and that you didn't have any hand in really choosing, you know, that you can kind of make something out of it. And so that's kind of what that comes from. It's a long title. I wish I had called it something else only because my email is so long. I try to tell people what it is. They're like, oh my gosh.
It is.
So, but yeah, I mean, I'm a producer on this. I produced Homecoming, which was my first film. And, you know, I generally, I'm doing another film for Amazon now that I'm very excited about. That's set during Reconstruction, and you know, but I would like to have my own imprint and start to. I have a lot of friends, and my son is a really brilliant filmmaker too. So I'd love to be able to give opportunities for people. So I just have to kind of build my brand a little better so that I can be in a position to really kind of help the way that people have helped me.
That is just fantastic. And it's a perfect segue for us to bring Adam back in with us because there's a lot of those young people who are looking for inspiration and words and their break. So Adam, why don't you join us?
You'd think that I'd have that mute Zoom deal down at this point. I really enjoyed the conversation that you guys had, and it touched on so many interesting things. And I wanted to chat a little bit with you guys. I want to let everybody, you know, watching in the audience know that, again, if you want to ask a question, please just submit it to the chat, and then I'll call you up, and then our team will make sure that you get all set up properly. Eugene, I'm really curious as a filmmaker. One of the things that you managed to do on your second feature was have 36 days, 36 shooting days in this day and age is exorbitant for the students who don't know. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's really what it should be, but many filmmakers do not achieve on an independent film. you were able to take the weekends off. You were able to do rehearsals. Now, I'm sure that your producing the film had a lot to do with that, but I would love for you to talk and to just elaborate a little bit more on how you used your producerial skills to protect your directorial skills.
That's an interesting question. Well, the first way was I used my producerial skills to protect my actors. It was this film was going to require that everybody look really their best. There's a lot of hair and makeup, a lot of beauty shots. You know, it's a glamorous film, and I didn't want to just run people through the ringer. I wanted them to be able to have weekends and have some rest. So we kind of scheduled it that way, you know. So that's how that started. We had scheduled a few less days. We wound up picking up days at the end because I believe there were some wildfires here in LA, and it stopped Tessa from having to start shooting Westworld, you know, because a lot of Westworld is shot on these ranches and in the West. So I think that Tessa didn't have to shoot, and we gained back some days from her. And so we just added them on the end so that we wouldn't have to just give her like a brutal schedule, you know. So that's what that was really about. And just as far as, you know, just giving myself the prep time that I needed. Like I said, we pulled it together very quickly, and we really just had a month of prep. But I tried to make sure that those days were really kind of laid out the way that they needed to be and super organized so that I would get everything in the time that I needed to. And then I was still location scouting and doing all the stuff while we were shooting on the weekends, you know?
Right. And even you were able to shoot in the sequence that you preferred. And I just think that is just so great. Were there any challenges with the financiers? Were they kind of pushing on you? Did you have to negotiate that? Or sometimes it just all comes together and you have a financier that gets it?
Well, one of the financiers was IM21 Films, which is owned by Nnamdi Asomugha, who's my lead actor. So I think he really understood, you know, he understood what we were talking about from the beginning. I wanted him to look good. I wanted Tessa to be able to look good. I wanted AJ to look good, you know, and I also wanted them to be, you know, just not be exhausted. And, you know, shooting on film, to be frank, it's a little different than shooting digitally because you're not going to do as many takes on film. We weren't doing as many takes. So it was really about kind of getting it down. We were still doing rehearsals throughout and pulling it together. And so we knew we had less takes to do. So the days were, it's not that they were shorter, they were just not as intensive. It was a lot of time in hair and makeup, to be frank.
Yeah.
And Eugene, as you are looking at the work that you're doing, so many of your pieces just all kind of, you managed to put the puzzle together. What would you tell a young person who's saying, what I want to do is make films? What kind of direction would you send them in?
Well, I mean, it really depends on what. The first thing I would say is, you know, it's very hard to get original work financed because, you know, a lot of studios are interested in existing IPs because they have a intellectual property like books and magazine articles and things of that nature, because they have sort of a built-in audience, you know, the way that Marvel does with comic books or brand recognition. So that's kind of tough to do. So one thing to think about is if you see something that you like an article is interesting to you, to kind of think about for short films to do something like that. You know, you have to do shorts to begin because you need to start figuring out how to put images together. So I would say definitely have shorts and, you know, work on short films and pulling them together, but do some that based on, you don't have to own the, you know, you're really not going to sell a short It's just kind of a calling card. So if you see a magazine article, like something, something that happened that sounds cool, if you base your story on something like that, it's a good calling card for you instead of just necessarily an original idea. People want to see originality, but it also shows that you can adapt an idea that exists in the world to, and you can visualize it and show people how you would shoot it.
Right.
How about we take a question from our audience? One of my former students, Louis Giaquinto, join us from ASU.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Turn your mic off.
Hey, Louis.
So my question is, what do you do in your time when you're not working on your projects? Are you writing majority of the time? How do you stay motivated?
Yes, I'm writing 100% of the time. Right now, my film comes out on December 23rd, so I've been spending a lot of time promoting it and junkets and doing interviews. But I'm also writing. I'm working on my next film and the television show, and yeah, that's what you do in your downtime. And then you hope to get that stuff out in the market and get. We're waiting for the pandemic to kind of simmer down so we can get back out on set. That's what we're really doing. So in my downtime, I've just been writing and developing ideas.
Thank you.
And tell me something, Eugene. When do you, as a producer, do you have a slate of projects that you're working on? Like how filled up, or do you try to contain it?
No, I try to contain it. I mean, it's important to really be able to give your projects the attention that they need. So I really kind of cap it at 5, and I usually do three for other people and 2 for myself. Like 2 that I've generated myself. I'm adapting my first film into a television show. Mm-hmm. So that's like one thing I'm doing, so it's those are the types and I have another script the script that you talked about earlier that was developed in the Columbia Graduate School that I'm working on getting made.
The Draft Dodger?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Cool. Let's take another question. How about Betty from University of Texas?
Hi, Eugene. I'm Betty Beamer. How are you doing today?
Uh-oh. We can't hear Betty. Let's hold for one moment. And we'll figure it out.
Let's unmute Betty.
Can you hear me now?
We sure can.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I had the earphones in, but I'll just use my computer speakers. Hi, Eugene. I'm Betty Beamer. How are you doing today?
What's up, Betty? I like that hat.
Thank you so much. First and foremost, I want to say I really enjoyed the film, especially how parallel it is to real life stories of the one who got away. I really enjoyed that storytelling. Sylvie's Love is definitely going to go in my collections. So my question is, what is your writing process when tackling a fresh idea such as Sylvie's Love?
It starts for me with a feeling that I'm trying to convey. In this case, it was nostalgia from these old family photos that I was looking at from the 50s of my parents and how beautiful and elegant they looked. And then I'll start listening to music from the period. In this case, that's what I did. And, but with it really just, I start with a theme more than anything. And in this case, the theme is how unfinished business with the love of your life can kind of set you on a path of arrested development in other areas of your life, like your relationships with people, your relationship with your career. So that's kind of where it always starts with the writing, is you always kind of want to, in my opinion, you always want to start with a theme that you're investigating. So it starts with something that's, important to you.
Right.
What kind of love, the greatest love? For me, the idea of, there was this Albert Camus quote about love being, when you truly love someone, you should be willing to let them go, you should be willing to give up even the love itself so that the other person can be happy. And so this kind of selfless love, I thought, was a really also an interesting theme to investigate. So I start with that, and then, I start layering things on that spine of the theme, and, all these other ideas start to come out from that.
Right. It's so funny that you say that. I have a shirt that says, if you love someone, set them free, with the bird flying. So I know exactly what you mean. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Awesome. I had a question about the fact that you shot in film. How into the details do you get into that? Do you know what stock you shot on? You got a great period look.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Super 16 stock I shot on most closely replicated the 35 stocks from the 60s. 35 now is gone through such advancement that it's almost indiscernible from digital. It's really, doesn't have a lot of grain. And so I really wanted the grain. We used vintage glass, some Cook lenses. We shot on Aries, 416s. We used a variety of stock, of Kodak stock. But it was a lot of fun. The big thing, not technically, but the biggest thing about shooting on film that I loved is that there's so much ceremony involved with it. Like, your champagne roll, and there's all this culture built into it that we're losing now because of the digital, because we're shooting megapixels,
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody has that sense that, we've got to capture this, right? We don't just have this infinite drive.
And you wait on the edge of your seat after a take for the words "good gate," and you can't move on if you got a bad gate, if you got a hair in the gate, you got to do it over.
Yeah, and you know what? There's some bunch of students out there who probably have no idea what a hair in the gate is. You want to explain that to everybody? Hair in the gate?
Yeah, it's just the space between the lens and where the film is, capturing the light. If there's, you'll see people blowing off blowing off the gate and blowing off the lens before you shoot and cleaning it. But sometimes, a hair makes it in there.
Awesome.
Eugene, many directors and many great directors have put either themselves in the film or their signature moments in every one of their films where you go, oh, that's a Eugene Ashe film. What is a Eugene Ashe film?
I think, there's one thing that really, I'm always about getting at the humanity, is that's what I'm always about. I always want to tell a human story. And so I think that that's what you'll find consistently in my films, but there's also always, the music is just a really important thing to me. So, as you said, in Homecoming, I wrote some of the stuff, but I have some really talented musicians and some really great needle drops that really, because music can anchor you in a period and anchor you in time, and also really evoke this whole kind of whatever feelings you're trying to get. In this case, nostalgia. Nancy Wilson, the minute you hear that nearness of you in the beginning, you know what movie you're in. You're not, this isn't, a movie about the civil rights, about civil rights, This is something different. It's Broadway, and it's, you get this kind of, there's a crispness to the night, that it's something glamorous about to happen.
Absolutely.
Let's take a question from a student who is at Georgia State University. Josh, come on up and ask a question.
Hi, Eugene. I'm Josh. First off, I'd like to say, what's up? I'm not normally a love movie kind of. I'm not really into romance, so you really captivated me with this movie. So I thank you for that. I'm more into action, but you know, I'm hooked onto this. But but my question is, what really inspired you? Like, what woke you up in the morning, I guess, and gave you the inspiration to write this love story?
Well, like I said, there were themes that I wanted to investigate, and talk about ideas that, often, we're just trying to work out our own problems through our art. And so in some way it's cathartic to go through writing something that is a problem that you dealt with in your own life or that you've learned something about. But I would say to kind of go off of your question, what motivated me to get up and keep trying to make this film after I wrote it was just that I hadn't seen this kind of representation on screen and with people who look like us. So I was really that's what motivated me to keep pushing, because it took quite a while to get it made. And I had a lot of no's, a lot of doors slammed in my face. But you know what? The thing is, what you realize is that you have nothing to do with when your time comes, but you have everything to do with preparing for it. So you just I kept refining the script and refining it and refining it. And every time I got notes from people, if someone read it, like, oh, it's not really, I would work on it and try to understand what it is that wasn't connecting with people until you make that connection one day. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah. 'Cause I know it might have seemed like a repeat question, but you hit the nail on the head. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you very much. Josh from Georgia State University. We've done some fun stuff with Georgia State. And one of the things that we're doing here, Eugene, is really trying to extend the access that Arizona State University has to the entertainment industry with schools that inspire us, like Georgia State University and others, to be able to provide some access where it might not be as readily available. It's a very similar kind of thing between access to Hollywood and access to higher education. And ASU is on a mission to radically improve the access to higher ed, something that's really important to the university. Our next question comes from Callista, who is actually from a Southern California school, Chapman University.
Okay.
Hi, Eugene. It's nice seeing you. I loved watching the movie last night, and I'm really excited for the world to see it later this month. And I was just wondering, in what order did you shoot the different parts of this film, and how is it guiding the main actors and all the actors in their portrayals with the non-linear storytelling and the jumps in time that you did?
Yeah, actually, Adam and Colleen and I talked about it a little bit. Just what I was mostly interested in doing was letting the chemistry between the two leads evolve over the course of the shoot. So I started with scenes where they were just sort of getting to know each other, or where they were coming, with the time jumps when they hadn't seen each other for 5 years, where they were just getting to know each other again. So I started with those scenes first. The very first scene I shot, as a matter of fact, was the opening, when she's standing outside in the blue Chanel gown and she runs into Robert. So, it was important for me to, as I said, let that chemistry evolve organically. So that's kind of how I shot out of sequence. Sometimes it just has to do with proximity to your next location. But we did try to kind of do that as much as possible, shoot the scenes where they were just getting to know each other or were getting back together, and then shoot the scenes where they had more chemistry later in the shoot.
And you can definitely
Cool.
sense that chemistry. from the audience. Yeah.
You know, I have a question for you, Eugene. Since you've worked live in terms of stage, my background is stage, and then you're going to do film and you're doing television, are you at all thinking while you're doing your creative process of how people are watching?
That's interesting. Yes, of course. And that of course affects blocking. And blocking for stage is very different from blocking for the camera. You know, of course, you have to hit marks on stage the same way that you have to hit them on film, but it's a little bit, the camera moves, you know, the audience doesn't move on stage. So I can often we're also cutting back and forth, you know, we're doing overs and I'm focusing on you, you know, and then I'm focusing on me, or I'm focusing on Adam. So it's, I do think about it. I'm always thinking about my shots and what I can do to convey the most emotion. You know, the thing is too, when you're writing, you're just sort of describing that stuff and it's in your head. So often I'll make notations about what I'd like to see. Sometimes I'll just lay in bed at night and I'll start to play the movie in my head and I'll see the cuts, I'll see the shots, and then I'll make notes about it.
Wow, it's great. Thank you.
Let's take another question from Georgia State University. Corey from Georgia State.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
You can go ahead and ask your question, Corey.
I have always loved watching movies, even if I was still asking myself, what do I want to do when I grow up? I'd still be madly in love with watching TV shows and movies. I know this is kind of a long shot, but Eugene, do you or anyone you know offer internships?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, I personally don't offer internships right now because, you know, unfortunately we're in the middle of a pandemic, so there's not a lot of production going on. But there's certainly always internships and internships on films. So yeah, I would just sort of kind of check back in when the world opens up a little more. I wish I had more information for you now. I'm trying to get things, you know, we're all trying to just get things up and running, and I'm sure when the world opens up, there's going to be plenty of internships. We're going to all.
No, and I think that's a really good suggestion. I would also add to that the Black Theater Coalition, if you look them up, and it's Adam Warner and Oliver Reed, and they put together a series of fellowships they're starting with Broadway, but they're moving to film, and they include fellowships with living expenses, plus working with directors and set designers and costumers. And Eugene is 100% correct. A lot of that work is being done right now. So I would advise you to get on that internet and start with the Black Theater Coalition. It's a good place to start. I
think that's a really great question, Corey, because getting those entry-level positions is something that it's just critical to getting that first step and getting your path moving in the right direction and being able to work and learn from people that can help you take that next step. And one of the things that Film Spark is very interested in, we spend a lot of our time trying to help our students find connections. And I know that your faculty at Georgia State University is going to want to help you with that as well.
Are you, Corey, if I can, Corey, are you in Atlanta or what part of Georgia are you?
Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, there's to be honest, Atlanta probably has the most production going on, even more than California right now. So you're in a good position. I'd also, I'd go knock on Tyler Perry's door.
Yeah.
Going on.
And that's the truth. So sometimes it is, just showing up. There's a very great story, and we're very honored to have Ted Hope, the legendary independent film producer who ran Amazon Studios, who had
he was involved in purchasing my movie, to be frank. I love Ted.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome. And he was very excited to help put this together, at least just made some emails and helped us put it together. He's got a great story. Ted tells a story about when he started. He showed up to the production office. I think he showed up to the production office of a famous independent film about a punk rock universe that, Corey, you probably don't know too much about unless you know about Sid Vicious and Johnny Rotten, members of the famous punk band, the Sex Pistols. And Ted showed up as a young person at the production office, and everybody was scrambling around, and he kind of just looked around, and he saw if there was an empty or a trash can that was full, he would empty it. If he saw pencils flying all over the place, he'd pick them up, put them in the pencil can. And he just started making himself useful. About halfway through the day, somebody says, "Who are you?" And he says, "Well, I'm Ted Hope." He said, "What are you doing here?" He says, "Well, I'm just here to help." He's like, "Are you working on this production?" He's like, "Well, not exactly." And then they took him on to the production, and that was his first gig. And so I love that you had the moxie to ask that question. And I want to see if we can take one more question, but I want to ask a question first. Eugene, I want to talk about that's an aspect of cinema that your film really has. It's a hard thing to talk about because it's elusive, and that is this notion of movie magic, right? And movie magic is what is that, right? Like, I remember watching Crazy Rich Asians. It's like, wow, that film has movie magic. Watch your film. It's like, wow, that film has movie magic. And I just, would love to know your thoughts on that subject generally.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an excellent question. I mean, I think it is something that is elusive, but I think it really comes down to a feeling. And I don't stop until scenes make me feel that way, or what I'm shooting makes me feel that way. And I do try to create that. And I try to create, in this case, like I said, I was really trying to create this sense of nostalgia. And I was trying to get at this feeling that I got from watching the final scene of The Way We Were, or the final scene of Breakfast at Tiffany's. There was just, those movies have that movie magic for me, or, certain other movies, the list goes on and on and on. But I keep going until I get there. It starts with the sets, then it gets into the fashion, and then the performance, and it's all of these ingredients that go into it. But it's like knowing when the soup is ready. You put the ingredients in, and then you take out a carrot, and you're like, that is not done. That carrot is too hard. So I do the same thing with, but at the same time, you also have to know when to stop. Otherwise, you can overdo it. So it's just really kind of, you do it. Ultimately, it's about feeling, and if it makes me feel that way, I think chances are good that it's going to make you feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm always telling my directing students that their ultimate responsibility. I would get frustrated when I was in film school, and people in Q&As like this would so often, when they were asked, "What's the role of the director?" they would so often say, "To tell the story," right? And of course you got to tell the story. And I was always left sort of feeling short, but there's got to be something more than just conveying the information in the narrative. And you've answered that question, that it's to make sure the audience feels what they're supposed to feel. And I'm so gratified that you were able to share that with the audience. We actually have a couple more questions. Colleen, did you want to throw one in?
I did. And it's wonderful to hear success. It's wonderful to go, this is terrific. But I'd like to know, Eugene, when there are mornings that are not great, or there are times on the set that's not wonderful, what do you have to dig down deep in for inspiration to push you forward, especially during this COVID time?
Yeah, I mean, while I was shooting and while I was on set, I haven't been on set since COVID. I've just been writing, but really it's just about being able to recognize when something's not working, but also being able to recognize the possibility in the moment. And a lot of people can't pivot and see what's right in front of them. When the thing you plan for is not working, you know, as I told you, I went to architecture school, started as an architecture student. And, you know, when I design a restaurant, I may have an idea and then we knock down a wall and there's pipes there or a metal column, a cast iron column that can't be moved. And I wanted to put a window there. You have to see what needs to go there and what the space wants. And sometimes the day that isn't working is a blessing, because the thing that you had envisioned, you know, you have to be willing to see that something better may happen. And if you're not open to that and you're just bummed out about the fact that you didn't get to shot, you know, we shot this scene on the beach with Sylvie and Mona. We had a whole different, drinking beers at the end, had a whole different thing going, and it was raining that day. And it turned into something else. I was like, leave your coats on, you know? Just leave your coats on. And they just left their coats on and drank beers on the beach and had a conversation. And it just turned into one of my favorite scenes in the movie. And it was supposed to be a whole different kind of beach day, you know?
It's great. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Wonderful. Let's take a question from Christian from University of Maryland, Eastern Shore.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. It's great to meet all of you. This is a great opportunity to really share this moment. I enjoyed the movie very much, and I was very shocked to learn that Amazon Studios actually existed. I didn't know there was such a thing because I do my self-publishing for Amazon. So I was really intrigued by that. My question to Mr. Eugene was, how did you start your directing career? Did you start with short movies, or were you into theater, or did you do a mixture of both?
I did do a mixture of both, and I was also in the music business. So the first way I started was through doing music for other people's movies. But yeah, just short films are the way to go, just because you can sort of finance them yourself and you can cobble together enough money to make them, you know. And it's a very different medium than a feature film. You have a very limited amount of time and space to make the story. So I would think about the scale of the story, you know. I did a short for Sylvie's Love years ago, and it had no dialogue. It was just a mood piece, and it was just two people, you know. And I had this Nancy Wilson song, another Nancy Wilson song called Save Your Love for Me, playing throughout the whole thing. It started with a disc, Nancy Wilson record drop. It was a close-up in the foreground of a record player, and it dropped, and then the song started, and then you see this woman walk by in the background with like a towel on her head and a bathrobe. And she's just thinking about this guy, and it just cuts between both of them. And that was it. That was the first thing I did. And I showed that to people when I would give them the script for Sylvie's Love. And they really, really dug it, you know. But yeah, that's how it started. Another fun idea and way to try to get your ideas across too, when you do start making shorts, or if you have a bigger idea, So what I'm saying is, if you write a feature script, it's good to do like a little teaser or a short that gives you a little bit of the vibe of it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because then people can
Yes.
see like what you're talking about, even though it's not the full movie.
I do appreciate that because I would love to turn my books into movies. So it would be great to
Yeah, well,
meet you all.
that's a fantastic idea. You know, what we were talking about earlier is that studios are very interested in existing IPs. So if you write books, what I would suggest, honestly, is try to get them published, and also at the same time, you know, really study screenwriting so that you can work on adapting your own stuff and not just sell the idea and have someone else do it. That way you can do it yourself. And if you want to direct it, then you can do that. You know, there was a movie called Love Story a long time ago with Ryan O'Neal and Ali McGraw. And the guy who wrote it, he wrote the script and couldn't get it made. And then he wrote a novel. He made a novelization of the script and it became a big hit. And then after it became a big hit, they let him make the movie. So.
So
I love that advice.
we have
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Awesome. We have time for a few more questions. There are a couple of our audience members who have passed the questions to me, and we'll do a few more questions. And then, Colleen, I'd like you to do the honors on the final question.
Okay.
One question comes from Alaya from Arizona Summit Law School, and she wanted to know, she really thought that Nnamdi and Tessa did a wonderful job, as is like the entire cast. She would just like to know a little bit about the casting process, not just with your leads, but the rest of your cast.
Yeah, you know, one thing we were also really concerned with is that you didn't see the same actors that you see in every other film with African-American leads and characters. So we really went out to people who we've seen give nuanced performances. I was a very big fan of Alano, who plays Lacey, her husband, and I'm also his wife, DeWanda Wise, is a really talented actor as well. And so I had a loose association with them, but was really a fan. And Reggae Jean Page I had seen, and Roots playing Chip and George. Everyone who is in the movie I've been a fan of for a very long time. And we were very fortunate because as the movie was going up for production, we just started getting the scripts out to people. And we were very lucky that everyone who we got the script to wanted to do it. The few people who didn't do it, it was only because there was a scheduling issue. They were working on something else and they couldn't do it. But, you know, if you start with, and this isn't anything you do, you know, in my other businesses, I do the same thing. I always start with people who know what they're doing and whose work I respect, because you don't want to have to micromanage people, and you don't want to have to, if I have to tell you how to do your job, then I've hired the wrong person. So I just hired a bunch of people who I felt really could deliver for me as actors. So I'm only concerned with, can they act? I start with that. You know, the best actor is it's not who's the cutest, although everybody's really beautiful in the movie, but it's really about who can act the best.
So it doesn't sound like you did an exorbitant amount of the, you know, casting process with the auditions and the whole thing. Sounds like you kind of had a good sense for who you wanted. Is that, am I reading that right?
Yeah, that's definitely fair. I did, and we also, you know, remember, if you recall, I only had a month of prep, so we really had to pull everything together really quickly. But I had a dream cast in mind just from people I had seen and wanted to work with. And like I said, we were very fortunate that they were almost all available and wanted to do it. I also caught them coming right off of vacation. So that's also, it turned out to be a good time, because people usually start getting the jobs in January and they're thinking about, you know, shooting in May. So this was like, no, we're going in a week and a half, you know, so it was nuts.
Outstanding. We have a question from Dana, who goes to school at Harvard. Dana, join us.
Oh no, I went to school a long time ago at Harvard. I am a contemporary.
I couldn't tell.
Well, thank you. My question, Eugene, is in light of the current racial strife that's going on in our country, why did you choose, let me say that racial strife is in many ways, it mirrors the racial strife of the 60s. Why did you choose to leave that piece out of the storyline, and also noting that you particularly had interracial relationships?
Well, the first thing is generally speaking, when we see films with people of color set during that time, it's always kind of framed through our trauma and our adversity and through our oppression. And so while those films are, certainly necessary, I always like to remind people that even Malcolm X and Martin Luther King still had a bunch of babies and fell in love and got married. So it's a way of erasing us when we don't show that we are human and we don't show our humanity. There's a famous Gordon Parks photograph of this beautiful woman and her daughter, and the woman has this blue dress on, and above her it says colored entrance. And when I first met Tessa, I had that photograph on my iPad, and I said to her, we've seen this film. And then I zoomed in, I pinched out so that the colored entrance was gone, and it was just focused on the woman and her child. I said, I want to know where she was before she got there. I want to know where she's going. I want to tell a story about her, So that's kind of really what that's about. I wanted to give us our day. We were very much involved in, Nat King Cole had his own TV show. Sidney Poitier was winning Oscars. There was a lot of stuff going on during the civil rights movement. And the fact that we were still thriving in some ways just shows how resilient we are as a people. And I think that it's really something to keep in mind during the times we're in right now. Imagine if in 2040, we only talked about the boot on our neck and only talked about police brutality and what we were going through that way. And didn't mention that Kamala Harris was running for vice president and that we had Barack Obama in the White House, or that we had Jay-Z and Beyonce, or all of the other, you got to kind of find balance there, if we want to kind of motivate ourselves to continue to thrive.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It absolutely does.
What a wonderful final question, and from our audience. And then I'd like to actually give Colleen the honors for our final question, and then I'll wrap it out for everybody.
Great. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you, Eugene. Thank you for a most beautiful film. I am wishing you merde, as we say in France, merde, and that I'm looking forward to touting the film in all the arenas that I travel in. I think one of the things that was important about this and what ASU does and having students engage in these conversations is understanding the scope of the business. And when a film is done and it's in the can, you still have a lot of business to do. Can you talk a little bit about that and the role that festivals play and the role that the international market plays? And it's a long last question.
No, but it's a really great one. We made an independent film in every sense of the word. Namdi's company, I Am 21, was sort of the anchor, and we got other people to come in and give money, as we were shooting, while we were shooting, after we were shooting, for finishing. But then we had to sell it. And when we were going out to studios trying to get finance before we had the money for it, often we were told, well, we like if you can make the movie that's on the page, we'd be interested in buying it, but we're not gonna finance it. Because it wasn't really a comp for it. There wasn't a comparable film that we could just go to and be like, well, it's like this film and that film made $200 million. So, you can give us $20 million to make this, or whatever. But when you're done with your indie and it's all cut and you have to take it out into the world and take it to the marketplace and sell it, it's a really tough place to be because it might not sell. I have many friends whose movies have not sold. When I made Homecoming, my first movie, I was very lucky to sell it to Image Entertainment at the time. But yeah, the festival thing was, we submitted to a bunch of festivals, and we were lucky that we got into the Sundance Film Festival. We were a little late for Toronto. We weren't quite ready. We didn't feel like it was ready to submit to Toronto, so we didn't do it. That would have been the September before, I think. And but we were ready for Sundance, and when we submitted and got in, we're very happy about it. Now, at the same time, to be extremely frank, we didn't get a deal we didn't put together a deal while we were at Sundance, and not very many people did, because a lot of companies had gotten burnt the year before. A lot of movies that they bought didn't perform the way that they wanted them to. And so it was just a really interesting time. It was scary. It wasn't like we were like sitting up, drinking champagne and fielding, tons of offers. And the movie did very, very well. I mean, we had 6 screenings. We screened at Eccles we had a sold out screening of 1,250 people, with another 200 waiting outside trying to get in. So people were definitely feeling the movie, and the buzz was there, and everyone was talking, but people were being skittish. And it was just one of those things. But we were so fortunate to meet Ted Hope and get involved with Amazon. And it couldn't have been, if we had made a different type of deal with a different type of company that didn't have a streaming platform, imagine what would have happened during the pandemic, when everybody now is rushing to get on a streamer. So we really kind of were ahead of the curve, and things happen for a reason. And that's just, you have to, again, like when you have those bad days on set, you have to believe that there's a higher power, that there's a greater thing at work here to make sure that it gets to it. You have nothing to do with it. You may think you do, but you have nothing to do with it. It is going, Sylvie's Love had its own trajectory that had nothing to do with any of us. It wanted to come out on Christmas Day. It wanted to come out on Amazon. It wanted to come out. And we're very, very fortunate to have Jen Salke. I don't know if you guys know Jennifer Salke. She's our fearless leader at Amazon. And she just has terrific taste. So, she had come on right when the movie was picked up. I met her early, and she's just, she's just been such a champion for the film. And in other hands or in another place, it may not have gotten the love that we're getting. And then we have Essence Studios on board too, from Essence Magazine. So that's just this whole other thing with Sidra Smith. And she's just kind of, we have all these people blowing the trumpet and marching down the street, marching the praises of Sylvie's Love. And it's just, it's where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. Richly deserved. And again, I can't thank you enough, because the importance of seeing us as complete 365-degree dimensional people is so critical at this time. It's critical for our young people. It's critical for our older people as an uplift. It is critical for everyone who is out there trying to make a difference. So I want to thank you on behalf of all of this. That movie, Sylvie's Love, is the kind of vaccine that's going to help us get rid of systemic racism. So thank you for that.
I appreciate that.
And thank you, Colleen, for guiding the conversation. Eugene, I just want to congratulate you again on making a really extraordinary film. Thanks so much for making the time to do this with us. And again, just want to thank Amazon Studios for all their support, and Film Threat for helping to get the word out. Also want to thank our audience for engaging with us today in a really fruitful conversation. And also the wonderful production team at not just my team at Film Spark, but also at Subtractive, a production company who's put all this together, and our friends at Magical Threads who helped us get the word out about this as well. So we're just very grateful. There's some very exciting things happening at Arizona State University, ranked #1 in innovation the last 6 years in a row, above MIT and Stanford, built on a charter of inclusion, the first sentence of which says we're going to judge ourselves not by how many people we exclude, but by how many people we include. And it's a really beautiful and good and virtuous mission. And this is a program here tonight is part of that mission. So we're just feeling a lot of gratitude and joy. I hope everybody goes and spreads the word about this fantastic movie. And I hope to see you maybe next month. We're hoping to do something similar to this around the film One Night in Miami, a very exciting Amazon release as well. So hope to see you soon.
All right, everyone, be well, be safe.
Thank you,
So long.
Eugene.
Thank you.